All right, last guy on the list, Kyle Williams, Washington State wide receiver, 5'10" and 5/8, 190 pounds, 8 3/4 inch hands. He's 22 years old. He'll be 23 in November. At the combine, he ran a 4.4 flat, 1.55 10-yard split. He had a 119-inch broad jump, 36 and a half inch.
Whoa.
36 is sexy and a half-inch vertical. In 13 games last year, he had 70 receptions, 1,198 yards receiving, 14 touchdowns, 9 rush attempts, 57 yards. He did that on 101 targets, and he had 5 drops for a 7% drop rate, 590 yards after catch. So pretty good.
Yeah, Kyle Williams, a name that we actually didn't originally have on our sheets. Started hearing a little bit more buzz about him, and there was just a lot of like no-name kind of receivers that we were just, trying to fill in and get as many of them as we can. And, he didn't make our initial cut, but the more I heard about him and how high some people had him, I was like, hey, let's make sure we get him on the list. So we updated the list. He got in, he made it. And I'm glad we did. I think he is definitely, it's funny how my nerd score kind of worked out, where I have about 10 to 15 guys that got a score of 69 or below, but there were no 70s and no 71s. And so it was either 69 or below or 72 and up. And it was like, I'm interested in these guys. I'm not interested in these guys. They made it very clear for me on this. So he ended up with a 73.7. So he's definitely in the range of guys like, hey, I'm interested. But similar to the last guy we talked about, he is a true Z.
Yep.
Like he's more of a take the top off the defense kind of guy. His hands were hit and miss. He did struggle with drops. He did a little better this year than he did in the season before. So you like seeing that he improved upon his drop rate and things like that. Not much of a contested catch guy. The one thing I'll say that he has different than Felton is there's much more yard after the catch ability naturally in his game with his movement skills than Felton had. So that's why I think he's a slightly better player, a slightly more intriguing prospect to me than Felton. But he's still another guy that he's got a fine skill set, but it's nothing special. When people talk about him as one of the top 5 guys in the class, I don't see that, but I understand why people are excited about him.
No, I agree. I think he's a good route runner. I think he knows how to like leverage a DB and kind of, maximize that kind of stuff, really get into their body before breaking off, into his route. And obviously the speed is there, 4.4 flat, and that shows up, I think, on tape. So that's always good to see. I don't think he had an issue getting off the line or anything like that. He's quickly able.
Actually gave him an 8 on releases, pretty good.
He's able to stack those DBs pretty quickly, which is nice. And run after the catch, I thought he was pretty strong. He was able to shed some guys. He's not the biggest guy at 5'10" and a half and 190 pounds, but I think he does pretty well.
That's where I liked him most.
As far as being able to phically break some tackles and
a lot of effort there too,
maximizing the yard. Which is nice. That's good to see.
He knew exactly. Like he was just smooth with he got the ball, and the moment he got the ball, he knew exactly where to go with it.
So to me, he's an interesting guy. I think he is for sure a Z. That's his position. So it's gonna boil down to, for me, like what kind of offense he lands in, what kind of opportunity he's going to get to really determine whether or not how good he can be. Because I think he's good enough at a lot of things, but if he's across from a CeeDee Lamb, I'm a little less. You know what I mean? I'm a little less excited. If he's somewhere where he's got an opportunity to kind of carve out a bigger role, I'm a little bit more excited about him.
Yeah, he was a nice watch. I liked him. I got the hype, like you said. It made sense. It could be a vertical threat. Good feet. Thought he tracked the ball well. Real smooth runner. Like you mentioned, like fluidity on Felton. Like he's a real smooth runner. Really know how to work in between like multiple defensive backs. And again, when he got the ball, he knew exactly where to go. Thought he had good footwork. Could turn like those really short dump off throws they saw like on in the flat and turn them into good plays. Like you mentioned, his hands are the biggest. That's his biggest knock.
I didn't really see the issue with the hands personally.
He dropped some balls.
I saw a couple drops this year, but I was looking through some of that. The year before, he had quite a bit and so I went back and watched one of his games that PFF will tell you which games he had the drops in and stuff. So I went back and watched that game, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so maybe that's why I missed it then, because it wasn't
horrendous, but like like I said, his routes, like he's one of the guys who could drift his routes, and it's just you have to be a little bit more nitpicky with these guys. He's the 5th-year senior, right? So you expect to have, you expect him to be as tight as could be, and there's still some things you're like, oh, he needs to work on that, and like he needs to tighten up that route a little bit. Your footwork could be off a little bit there. And again, his hands weren't horrible, but like they weren't great. They weren't bad though. They were just a little. Maybe it's just a tape I watched. Just a couple balls go off the hands. Same thing. I mean, they're better than Jalen Knowles, and I love Jalen Knowles, so that'll tell you something.
Sure.
But overall, like a nice player. But the thing with him though is like in most years, like, okay, is this wide receiver 15 in like most years, or is he like? Because right now he's like wide receiver 15 for me, like right, maybe not that low. He's right around. No, he's higher than that because I have him right. He's in the same tier as Jalen Royals, and I like Jalen Royals.
Right.
And
oh wow.
And
I'm surprised by that because I have Jalen Royals like bordering on my top 5.
I think I'd need to go rewatch.
Dude,
Royals.
100%. When I got done with all my tape and I put Kyle Williams in here because I didn't know where. Like I have Kyle Williams right around like Jordan, like right behind.
I have him tied with Jaden Higgins, but you like Higgins a little bit.
So yeah, I have Higgins higher. I have. Here's the thing. I have Kyle Williams in that same tier, like as Jalen Knoll, but Jalen Knoll's at the top, and Kyle Williams is. So Jalen Rose is the receiver I have ahead of him, but he's about 4 players behind him. He's in that Damian Martinez range.
Okay.
For me, Jalen Rose. But I'm with you. Like when I got all said and done, I was like, man, I remember like really Jalen Royals a lot. He's a player I have to go back and watch again to get a little bit more.
Because it was like we went with a few good players in that first one to total doo-doo butter to now liking a lot of these guys. I feel like I kind of need a refresher course to see exactly where Royals stacks with these guys.
Sure.
I remember coming away liking his tape a lot. Yeah. And I have my notes. All my notes are good on him too. But it's like, again, overall class-wise, like, and that's why I said, like, do I really need to go back? Because I feel real good about this tier. And the NFL draft and Capital is going to really shake out this tier. So, like, I have them ranked in order, but that tier has never been closer. And like you mentioned, you have the guys that are like, I saw your grades. 73.37, 73.39. It's like literally 0.0203 off there.
That's very, very close.
Like how I started the show, I'm gonna end the show. I haven't seen a class like this close when you get past those like top 6 guys ever. Like it's just wow, almost like tight ends, Dynasty tight ends. Like, oh, what's the difference between 8 and 15? Not much.